living in the book of Revelation. No more fronting and faking, man. We moving and shaking, immune to the hating. Back to the conversation, back to the condition of the nation. Prophecy fulfilled with every step that we taking. Grip the book and keep them shook with all these plays that we making. Illuminated, it ain't no way that you mistaken. And behold, when God will say, O Jesus, the Son of Mary, didst thou say unto men, worship me and my mother as gods in derogation of God? He will say, glory to thee. Never could I say what I had no right to say. Had I said such a thing, thou wouldst indeed have known it. Thou knowest what is in my heart, though I know not what is in thine. For thou knowest in full all that is hidden. Never said I to them anything except what thou didst command me to say, to wit, worship God, my Lord and your Lord. And I was a witness over them whilst I dwelt amongst them. When thou didst take me up, thou wast the watcher over them, and thou art witness to all things. If thou dost punish them, they are thy servants. If thou dost forgive them, thou art the exalted in power, the wise. God will say, this is the day on which the truthful will profit from their truth. Theirs are the gardens and rivers flowing beneath, their eternal home. God will please with them, and they with God. That is the great salvation, the fulfillment of all desires. To God doth belong the dominion of the heavens and the earth, and all that is therein. And it is he who hath power over all things. And these words that we find in the testament of the Quran bear witness to the truth and the message of Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. We look at his testimony in Matthew chapter 5. And he says, do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. Okay? Many are standing in the room of Christ, representing him falsely. But we can read in the Bible his own testimony. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to what? To fulfill them. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter nor the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. Therefore, anyone who sets aside one of the least of these commands and teaches others accordingly will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commands will be great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. This is the testimony of Christ. Let us continue with the testimony of Christ from the book of Luke, chapter 4, verse 4. And Jesus answered, it is written, man shall not live on bread alone. The devil led him up to a high place and showed him in an instant all the kingdoms of the world. And he said to him, I will give you all their authority and splendor. This is the same thing that the devil is offering you all today. And he said to him, I will give you all their authority and splendor. It has been given to me, and I can give it to anyone I want to. Verse 7. If you worship me, it will all be yours. Jesus answered, and this is important to see how he answered, because how he answered is how we should answer. And when he answered, it's important to note that he answered with the Torah. For all of those who have thrown down the law and all of those who say they are trying to be Christ-like, Jesus was a keeper of the law, and he exhorted his people to do the same. And we see the testimony right here. Jesus answered, it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. So Jesus quoted to him Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter and the 13th verse, in case you were confused about what Jesus believed. And so we can clearly bear witness that what we find in Surah Al-Ma'idah of the Quran and the testimony of Muhammad about Christ was indeed the truth, confirmed by the words of Jesus himself. So what is this that we see moving in the world today? This form of godliness that denies the power and defies the doctrine of Christ. Did Muhammad defy the doctrine of Christ? No, he supported it. This is why he was persecuted. And this is why they chose not to listen. This is the same reason why they still choose not to listen. They're not following the words of Muhammad, and they're not following the words of Christ, and they certainly are not following the words of Moses. But this is the time of judgment, and Jehovah has hardened their hearts and closed their ears and shut their eyes and dulled their hearts so that judgment can be brought about on those who suppress righteousness with wickedness. So Muhammad says, say, O people of the book, ye have no ground to stand upon unless ye stand fast by the law. What law is he talking about? The law of Moses and the gospel. We saw what the gospel was. Jesus was preaching of the Torah, eternal salvation and reconciliation and redemption between us and the Most High. How? Through adherence to his word. Once again, you cannot worship without being in obedience. And so he says, you have no ground to stand upon unless you stand fast by the law, the gospel, and all. Listen to this, because see, we like to pick and choose, especially those that are running around with their form of godliness. They like to pick and choose what they want to believe. But the scripture says here, and all the revelation that has come to you from where? Your Lord. See, they act like it didn't come from the Most High. It's all confirmatory, each one of the other, because it came from the same source. And it repeated the same message. And the people did what? They repeated their same action. They rejected it. They turned their back on it. And they did just the opposite of what they were instructed. And so the scripture reveals to us. It is the revelation that cometh to thee from thy Lord, that increaseth in most of them. 2/3 of them, their obstinate rebellion and blasphemy. But sorrow thou not over these people without faith. So recognize today, you've got people standing up, professing something that they are not. Okay? These are the facts. This is the reality today. All these things taken into account and being understood, realizing that we are in the end time, and there are many who are walking around with the mark of the beast. But they're also deceitful workers, and they're masquerading themselves as apostles of Christ. Yes, they chip and they bite and they steal. So they come to you with an inspired word, but it did not come from the Most High. We find in the scripture, for such men are false apostles and deceitful workers, men and women, masquerading as apostles of Christ. And no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. He's coming to you with an inspired expression. Okay? So it is not surprising then. Don't be surprised. Don't be taken aback then. If his servants, those who are serving Satan's interests, those who are serving the one who opposes us, don't be surprised then if you find them also masquerading as servants of righteousness. Though they be what? Deceitful workers, masquerading, pretending to be apostles of Christ. Scripture says that their end will correspond with their actions. And Yahweh's word is not mocked. That a man or a woman sows, they shall also reap. living in the book of Revelation. No more fronting and faking, man, we moving and shaking. Immune to the hating. Back to the conversation, back to the condition of the nation. Prophecy fulfilled with every step that we taking. Grip the book and keep them shook with all these plays that we making. Illuminated, it ain't no way that you mistaken. It ain't a way that we playing. Feel what I'm saying? We gonna always rally back, it ain't gonna be no delay.